Good morning, students. Welcome to our grammar session. Today, we are going to learn how to write a good story using an outline. So, let's get started. First of all, what is a story writing? A story is the narration of a set of events. A set of events means whatever story you are developing, it should be in a sequence or in an order. Basically, a story is a narration of real or imaginary events involving real or imaginary people. There are 5 key elements which you should remember while writing a story: title, details, setting, plot, and characters. Let us see one by one. Characters. First, decide who will be in your story. The characters in the story may be people, animals, and sometimes even non-living things who talk and behave like human beings. Setting. The place where a story happens is called a setting. A setting doesn't even have to be a real place. Details. It helps readers to understand how something looks, sounds, or feels. Use your imagination to see everything. Plot. What your characters do is the plot of your story. To make it exciting, add problems. A plot must always have a conflict or problems, which is the focus of any story. Title. The title should be eye-catching, it should be attractive and short. Now, let us see the important points we should remember while writing a story. To develop the story from an outline, always read the outline of the story carefully and understand what the story is all about. The next step is to develop the points of the outline into complete sentences. Then, follow the sequence in which the points are given. Do not omit any part of the outline. Every story has 3 sections: a beginning, that is introduction part, body or middle, and an ending. Ending means climax. Climax is a turning point. It means that your story is reaching to an end. Write the story in the past tense even if the outline may be provided in the present tense. Choose a title that is related to the main characters or events of the story. Now, let us carefully read the outline of the story given on page number 56. A merchant going home from the city market has large sum of money on him. Begins raining. Merchant gets wet. Is angry with the rain. Some distance away, a thief comes. Tries to shoot him. Gunpowder is wet. Gun doesn't go off. The merchant spurs his horse and gallops to safety. Thanks the rain. So, after reading this outline, we have a fair idea what this story is about. Isn't it? Now, we must breathe life into this outline and develop a complete story. Children, remember, although this outline is given in the present tense, try to write the story in past tense. Now, let's begin with our story. As you read the outline, I hope you have a fair idea about this story. So, can you think about the title? What can be the title? It can be Merchant and the Rain. It can be Blessing in Disguise. it can be grace of God, or it can be the merchant and the robber. Alright, now let's begin with the story. As you can see in the first two lines, it's clearly mentioned that a merchant was going home from the city market and he was having a large sum of money. Correct? So here we can frame our own sentence. We understood that he had some kind of business and because of that he was carrying a large sum of money with him. So your first paragraph can be, once upon a time, there was a merchant who was riding back to home after a successful trade in the city. He was carrying a large sum of money with him. Night was falling fast and his village was far away. But the merchant kept on moving ahead. Then, if you read your outline, it's mentioned that it begins raining, merchant gets wet, is angry with the rain. So here you can form your second paragraph. You can write, on the way there was a forest. He was passing through it at a high speed. Soon it began to rain heavily. Merchant was drenched and began to curse God for sending rain. Now once again let's read our outline. Here it's mentioned that at some distance away a thief comes, tries to shoot him. Gunpowder is wet. Gun doesn't go off. The merchant spurs his horse and gallops to safety. Thanks the rain. Now this is the plot of your story. Here you have to mention what your character is going to do. How merchant is going to escape from the robber. So here you have a chance to show your creativity. Use your imagination. The story can be like this. Suddenly, he came across a robber who had a gun in his hand. He pointed his gun at the merchant and asked him to hand over his money, but the merchant refused to give his money. Soon the robber decided to shoot him, but the gun did not go off because the gunpowder had gone wet in the rain. Meantime, the merchant got a chance to escape and saved himself from the loss of his life as well as money. Now he realized that the rain was a blessing in disguise which had saved his life. He thanked the rain for saving his life. So children, this was the climax of your story, but as I told you, it depends on your imagination. Climax may vary from person to person. For example, you can also write in this way. Out of relief, the merchant threw some sand on his eyes and ran away with his horse. Now he started praising the rain as he realized that the rain was a blessing in disguise which had saved his life. He thanked the rain for saving his life. Here the climax is little bit dramatic. Correct? Now this was your whole story. But what you learn from this story? What is the positive message that you can gain from this story? That is the moral. So what can be the moral of this story? The moral of this story is whatever happens, happens for good. Now this is your home assignment. Write a story using the following outlines. Give a suitable title and moral to the story.